So the rotator cuff is a group of 4 muscles that surround your shoulder joint. And these muscles help to stabilize your shoulder, so it keeps it in the socket. When you move your shoulder, it helps to make everything move fluidly when you try to lift weights or just raise your arm. And if you have difficulty or weakness moving your arm, or even pain while sleeping on that shoulder, you might have actually torn one of these muscles. And this is something that we can correct with rehabilitation exercises, also physical therapy. But if you do have a rotator cuff positive from imaging, that might be okay. So actually most people over the age of 40 have asymptomatic rotator cuff tears from imaging, and they go on to live asymptomatic life. So that means they don't really have a functional deficit. So for those of you who would like to prevent a rotator cuff tear or rehab it, I'm going to show you some of the ways that you can implement some simple exercises into your daily regimen so that you can get relief from those symptoms and prevent a tear in the future. So the goal of rehabilitation of a rotator cuff tear is to restore that function, to decrease your pain and inflammation over time. And this is with the intentional implementation of some simple exercises I'll show you later. But to have the patience to understand that when your shoulder is telling you, hey, we're painful, that's kind of like a signal that you should be correcting something. And posture can be a big part of that. So posture can actually reduce pain and improve your function if you correct it. So for example, try to slouch forward in your chair, round your shoulders forward, round your head forward, and then try to raise your arm. You'll notice if you try again, you stand up nice and tall, you retract your shoulder blades together, you can lift your arm way over your head. Hopefully, if you have a rotator cuff tear, that might prevent you, but you'll notice that that rotator cuff functions better with better posture. So these are these small things that we can do to improve the function without necessarily reattaching that muscle surgically. So something you can try is scapular retractions. So this is simply saying pulling your shoulder blades back, having that good posture. And when you're holding them for 2 seconds, do that for 20 repetitions. And you can do this daily as you need. When you notice you're texting, you got that text neck, or you're writing, or you're binge watching Netflix, just put in some scapular retractions. It should help out. Create some space in the front of your shoulder. So the first phase of healing is the protection phase, and it's definitely the most frustrating phase for people who really just want to get back to their daily function. However, it's important that we take the time to allow that tissue to heal properly, because if we overdo it, we are benching, we are doing push-ups, you're going to flare up the bursas, the inflammation, you're going to compress a lot of things, you're going to re-tear the muscle. It's just not going to be good. So we want to move very slowly through this phase and allow proper healing. So during this early phase, you can do things like icing. So icing is going to reduce inflammation and also pain. So those are 2 good things that we're looking for. And progression through this phase is basically predicated on how you are feeling with these exercises. So if any of these exercises increase your pain or increase your inflammation, irritability, you need to take it slowly. So once you master these exercises, you can move on to the next phase. So the first exercise in the protective phase is the wall press. And what you're going to do for this, you're going to find a pole or a wall, and you're going to walk up to it. You're going to press your fist into the wall, pressing forward. You're going to hold that contraction for 5 seconds, and then you're going to relax for 5 seconds, and you're going to repeat that for 10 times daily. So you can do this every day of the week. So you're just trying to introduce some non-painful activation of the muscles surrounding the shoulder, and you're going to press forward, you're going to press outward and inward, also backward. And this is going to help reduce pain. So next we need a PVC pipe or a broom or a dowel rod, whatever you have handy, and we're going to push our painful shoulder over our head with our strong shoulder. And this is going to allow that motion that will help bring fluid and blood flow and all these things that help tissue healing to that area. And you're going to do 20 repetitions 1 to 3 times a day, every day. And if you feel pain or symptoms with this, you need to back off. So you're going to have to go a little bit shy of that pain wherever you feel it in the range of motion until it's mastered. So if you get out just a little bit to your side and then you do 20 of those, that's a win, because you just need to build up slowly every day. Just take your little win of the day and then try again tomorrow. Next exercise, we're going to show everybody how big of a fish we caught. So you're going to keep your elbows to your torso. You're going to bring your hands out. You're going to say this big. And this is going to allow that external range of motion to return for your shoulder. And in a lot of cases, this might be painful. If it is for you, you're going to get a dowel rod or that same implement we used for the flexion and abduction. You're going to push your shoulder out to the side so that you're not actively using the muscles to do the motion. And this should help, again, restore that range of motion, introduce healing, move fluid around, all that good stuff. And we're going to do it 20 repetitions, 1 to 3 times a day, every day. Next, we have the strength and stabilization phase, and this is going to happen as soon as you progress to the full range of motion that we had in the previous phase without pain and inflammation. And this is going to allow us to improve stability, improve our function by loading the tissues progressively. So again, this is also a very slow phase. So I'm not saying you should go bench pressing or doing push-ups with your shoulder at this time. We're really trying to slowly improve the ability for your shoulder to adapt to activity. So for this next exercise, you're going to be using a cable wrapped around a pole or a doorway. And what you're going to do, you're going to keep your elbows pinned to your sides. You're going to keep your thumb up and move the back of your hand outward. And if you struggle keeping your elbow close to your torso, you can place a small towel just to help that motion be more pure and targeted to the rotator cuff. And we're going to be doing 20 repetitions twice, so 2 sets of 20 reps, and you can do this 2 to 3 times a week so you can recover from the last time you did it. Next exercise looks very similar. Instead of going outward, we're going to press our belly. So again, elbow to the side. If you can't maintain that, then you're going to use a towel to make sure that your elbow stays to your torso, and then press your belly, and then coming out slowly and intentionally. Next, we're going to lay on our back with weights in our hands, and essentially you're going to think about lengthening your arm while keeping your elbow straight using your serratus muscle. This muscle is found on the side of your body, and it helps move that scapula or shoulder blade across your torso. And it's a very bizarre muscle. Many people don't know how to use it. So take your time with this. And once you get the hang of it, we're going to do 1 to 2 sets for 20 reps, 2 to 3 times a week. So next we have cable rows, and we're going to start in that protracted position. Then we're going to bring our elbows back to our torso, and you're going to feel that shoulder blade retract back, and you're going to hold that for 2 seconds. Then you're going to let your shoulders round forward again. You're going to repeat this for 1 to 2 sets of 20 repetitions, 2 to 3 times a week. Next exercise is very similar, except we're going to leave our elbows straight. We're going to pull our hands to our pockets and retract our shoulder blades similarly to the row. And for this time, we're going to try to feel that motion and the tension that it creates in our low trap area. So rhomboids, low trap, all that good stuff. Just try to feel that squeeze with that 2-second hold in position. And you're going to repeat this for 1 to 2 sets for 20 repetitions, 2 to 3 times a week. Next, we're going to roll onto our stomach and do W's, Y's, and T's. These are going to build up that back musculature that's going to support our shoulder when we move. And to do this, we're going to bend our elbows for the W's and just hold that retracted shoulder blade for 2 seconds. You're going to do 15 of those, then you're going to move on to the Y's and do 15 of those, and then the T's and do 15 of those. This should feel pretty tiring, so we're only going to do them 2 to 3 times a week for 15 repetitions. So next we have the return to function phase, and this is where you get to kind of tailor it to your own needs, because if you're a football player, your return to sport is going to look very differently than if you're a retired teacher trying to get back to yoga class. And this phase usually includes higher level strength, stability, and motion as a general rule. So this is fun because we get to add a lot of things that we couldn't do before, and you should be feeling really good by now, and your pain should be gone. And we're just working on the stabilization of your shoulder blade and the stabilization of your rotator cuff muscles. The first weight-bearing exercise, we're going to be introducing the push-up plus. And for this, we're going to be on our hands and our feet. We're going to keep our core and our glutes tight. You're going to push the ground away from your body while keeping your elbows straight. And you're going to retract your shoulder blades again for that squeeze, and then you're going to push the ground away from you. You're going to do this for 20 repetitions, 2 to 3 times a week. And if this is too hard, you can drop to your knees and start there. So next we're going to do face pulls. These are going to be done with our elbows at shoulder height. We're going to pull the cables back so we retract our scapula and we feel that squeeze at the top. These should be 2-second holds, and we're going to do 20 repetitions 2 to 3 times a week. And if these are too hard, again, just go down in resistance and do less repetitions and build up slowly from there. Next, we're going to be on our hands and feet doing shoulder taps. These can be done with your core and your glute tight for stability. These are going to work on your rotator cuff in weight bearing. So it's going to be a lot of force, a lot of stability it has to do. And you're going to tap each shoulder very slowly, and you're not going to allow gravity to sway your hips or your torso. You're going to try to stay tight. This is going to stabilize your whole chain and get you ready for function. You're going to do 20 repetitions 2 to 3 times a week. Next, we're going to plank 3 different ways. We're going to start doing 15-second holds and gradually moving up to 90-second holds. And what's important with this is you're going to try to keep your hips stacked and your shoulders stacked when you do these. So you're not going to want to, bend over and create torque on that shoulder that might tweak it again. So again, be very careful with your stabilization. Don't get sloppy on these. Just reduce the time if it's too hard for you. So 15 to 90 seconds, we're going to do this 2 to 3 times a week. So next we have D2 flexion with a cable, and this is going to allow us to strengthen the stabilizers in a functional movement. So you're going to start with your hand on your opposite leg and then pull out with your elbow straight. You're going to repeat this for 15 repetitions for 2 sets, and you're going to do this 2 to 3 times a week. Next, we have the serratus rolls. You're going to use a foam roller and put it on the wall. You're going to start about your chest height and then try to push it over your head using your serratus muscle. And you're going to do this for 60 seconds twice, 2 to 3 times a week. Lastly, we have banded flexion. To perform this, you're going to wrap a band around your wrists, and you're going to hold dumbbells if you're advanced, or just your body weight. To begin, you're going to do 15 repetitions, bringing your wrist from your waist all the way to your head. And this should feel pretty good. And to make sure it does, you're going to keep your shoulder blades back, and you're going to push out against the band to create tension in your rotator cuff. You do this 2 to 3 times a week so you can get strengthened and stabilized. So that's how to strengthen your rotator cuff in 3 different phases. Hopefully you found that useful. Again, if you have a rotator cuff tear that's very symptomatic, I suggest you see a healthcare provider. This is not healthcare advice. I'm just trying to provide free information to the public. So I'll see you on the next one. Peace.